Hello, my name's Mrs. Tyler and we're here today to do some GCSE biology revision, and we're just looking at triple content, so this is only if you do the triple award. We're going to be looking at plant hormones today, so we're going to be looking at how auxins work, the required practical, and lastly, the uses of those plant hormones. It's just a shorter knowledge organiser today, so just on half a sheet. If you wanted to, and you've done the one on the endocrine system, the one on plant hormones sits with the human hormone one quite nicely in the specification, so you could stick it on. All right, let's get started. So this knowledge organiser then is a shorter one where we're just looking at triple content, looking at plant hormones. So I'm going to fold my piece of paper in half, and I'm just going to do mine on the right hand side. You could use a full page in an exercise book if you want. That's absolutely fine. So we're thinking about plant hormones today. So we're going to have a look at how plant hormones work. So that's going to be about half the page. And then I'm going to divide the bottom half in half again, whereby we'll be looking at the required practical, which is essentially cress seeds and directional light, and we'll be looking at uses of plant hormones. Let's start then with plant hormones. When we say plant hormones, most of the time we are thinking about a hormone called auxin. I'm going to draw the top of a shoot. It's called the shoot tip. And the cells that make the hormone are only found at the tip of the shoot. So those dots are auxin, and it's made at the tip. When the auxin is made, it's a chemical that can diffuse through the cells and the cytoplasm and move away from things or towards things. So in this situation, it would diffuse down from where there's a high concentration to where there's a lower concentration. So it will diffuse. Now, the funny thing is about auxins is that they're sensitive to light, and auxins will move actively away from directional light and towards the shaded side. So let's just make some notes. Auxins are plant hormones. They move away They also are more dense, so they sink down towards gravity. Let's have a look at the two responses we need to know then. The first one is the response to light of shoots. We call the response to light phototropism in shoots. So shoots are the bits that grow up out of the ground. So when you've got a shoot tip, like we have there, but let's say the light is coming in from the side, then the auxin, instead of being evenly distributed, diffusing down from the tip, is going to move to the shaded side. So the auxin will move to the shaded side. So it moves to the shaded side. And the effect of that is that the auxin is a growth hormone. It causes the cells to grow or elongate on this side and not on this side. So this side gets longer, and this side stays the same, so it bends over. I'm going to try and draw the cells. So I'm going to draw a line of cells, and I'm going to make these ones quite long, they've elongated, and these ones quite short, they haven't elongated. So the auxin, remember it's here, the light has come from this side, has made these cells get longer. So the cells elongate. And that's great for the plant because it means it's now pointing towards the light, which means it gets more photosynthesis. The next effect of auxin then we need to think about is geotropism or gravitropism. Called both. And this time we're thinking about in the roots. So this time we're pretending that the root is going sideways. So here's our root tip. And this time gravity, which is acting down, causes the auxin to sink to the lower surface of the root. This time, though, auxin inhibits the growth. So it encourages growth, it elongates in the shoots, but it inhibits the growth in the roots. So this means that these cells aren't inhibited, so continue to grow and get longer, but these ones are inhibited, so stay the same size. And the root will be pushed down. So this time it's the top cells that can elongate because they've not been inhibited, and the lower surface ones are inhibited, they stay the same. And the reason it wants to do that is that it wants the roots to go down into the soil to get more minerals from the soil. The required practical for this is really easy. Let's set up 3 Petri dishes. So these are my 3 Petri dishes. I'm going to put a bit of cotton wool on each. There's my cotton wool. And I'm going to put 8 seeds on each. This one is going to be open to the light. So the light is going to be coming straight down from above. And so hopefully the cress seedlings will grow straight up because the light is coming straight down. This one is going to be put in a box. When plants are in the dark, often they do grow, but they grow in weird directions and they grow often long and thin and floppy and yellow. This last one then is going to be in a box, but it's got a hole cut in the side. So the light can only come in from there. It's directional light, which means these cress seeds will bend over and grow towards the light. So if you were asked a 6-mark question on this, it might be about the method. So you would describe how you would set it up. Things you could measure could be the angle that it bends over, or it could be the length of the cress seedlings. And also things that we need to keep the same to make it valid, those control variables, you need to keep the same volume of water. Water needs to have been put on all of these. Same number of seeds. Same light intensity, so even though there's light there and light there, that needs to be the same even though it's directional. Okay, so the required practical for directional growth, you just grow seedlings in different directions. Another one for geotropism is a bit harder. In order to grow them in different directions, you can do things like plant the seeds upside down and see which way the roots go, or even grow it on a horizontally rotating disc, which means they'll grow out. So you grow on a rotating disc. So as it turns and turns, that auxin never has time to settle on the bottom because it's constantly turning. All right, so the roots just grow straight out. The thing I'm going to talk about then is the uses of plant hormones, and there are 3 of these. So I'm going to divide this bottom bit into 3. The first one we've already discussed a bit is auxins, but another type of hormone you need to know about is gibberellins. And lastly, a gas called ethene. So auxins cause growth, okay, in shoots, and they interrupt growth in roots, so they can be used as weed killers. They can be used in rooting powder, if used correctly, and they can be used in tissue culture. Remember, tissue culture is when you get some sterile agar or jelly, so that's sterile, so no microbes in it, and you put a little bit of plant tissue on and leave it, and it might grow roots into the agar. And auxins will help that. If you put auxins in the agar, it will grow. Gibberellins then are hormones that control dormancy. In other words, let seeds grow in different times of the year to what they normally would. So you can grow crops out of season. They can control flowering, and they can control the size of fruit. So, for example, in seedless grapes, gibberellins are used to make them a bit bigger. Seedless grapes tend to not be as big as normal grapes. The last one to talk about then is ethene, and the classic example of ethene is an overripe banana. It's a really bad banana, never mind. Let's draw it a bit patchy and brown. An overripe fruit gives off the gas ethene. And it causes other fruit to ripen. So it's used in transport. So fruit is often picked when it's unripe, and then ethene will be pumped into the lorry as it's taken to the supermarket, so it ripens on the shelves. All right, so this is a half one. It would go if you've got your endocrine system knowledge organiser, then this is plant, so this is the plant version of the endocrine system. You could stick it on there. Or if you've got the one from paper 1, which is looking at plant transport, this plant stuff goes quite nicely there, but obviously it's in a different unit, but goes quite nicely with the plants. I think I'd stick mine with the endocrine system one. stick it onto there because we're talking about hormones, even though it's hormones in plants. As you know, this is the easy bit now. Your job is to read, cover, recite, and then have a go at some exam questions and test that knowledge. Well done. I'll see you next time.